The injured wolf was limping along, evoking a heart-wrenching sight for a passing driver. Animals can make wonderful companions, except for those that are wild. In such cases, it's generally best to leave them undisturbed. However, there are moments when it becomes necessary to intervene, particularly when they are injured. Regrettably, many individuals fail to take the opportunity to pause and offer assistance to a wild creature in need. This proved to be true for a wolf enduring a truly difficult existence. However, fortune smiled upon the wolf when an animal enthusiast happened to be driving by and spotted the injured creature hobbling along the roadside. Driven by compassion, the individual decided to approach the wolf and assess if there was any way to alleviate its suffering. Unnoticed and distressed, the animal had been present in the area for some time. However, a compassionate driver intervened, stopping to assess its injuries. Identified as an Arabian wolf, it is one of the smallest in its species. The compact size of Arabian wolves enables them to thrive in the warm climate of the Arabian Peninsula. Unlike their counterparts, they do not form large packs, typically residing in groups of 2 or 4. These carnivorous predators primarily rely on animals such as goats as a source of sustenance. Farmers often deem these animals as a risk to their livestock, so they will resort to any means necessary to ensure that these wolves won't put their farm animals in any sort of peril. But this has led to a decline in the population of these majestic creatures. Public perception of the Arabian wolves has also played a major factor in the number of animals. These wolves do enjoy meat, but they also don't mind eating food waste left behind by humans. This suggests that they'll roam near areas where people live, and it scares a lot of people who encounter the wolves. In 2017, there were some incidents near Masada and Ain Jedi, 2 popular Israeli tourist spots. It seems that these creatures tried biting visitors in the area, which infuriated locals and tourists alike. For the sake of public safety, nature reserve managers created traps that would deter the animals from getting too close, but some locals wish that these creatures didn't exist at all. Furthermore, if you haven't already, kindly subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to receive daily inspiration from these captivating animal stories. Now, let's return to the narrative. Given the wolf's dwindling popularity and population, it's no wonder people dislike these animals. In 2016, someone was driving in rural Israel and they ran into one of these wolves with their car, but instead of stopping, the driver kept on going and left the animal on the side of the road to fend for itself. The wolf was injured and obviously scared as he limped on the side of the road because it was in pain. Anyone who spotted him for a moment could tell that the wolf would not live long in this world unless he received help. But despite this obvious fact, no one seemed willing to stop to see if they could help. Fortunately, someone had a heart and decided to see what they could do for the injured animal. Despite all the negative things they heard about the creature, they pulled over and tried to assess the injuries, but given the wolf's condition, the driver wasn't sure if there was much that could be done to save the animal. The driver knew that the wolf's odds weren't good, but they decided that they should try anyway. They took the wolf to the Israeli Wildlife Hospital, which is located 25 minutes outside of Tel Aviv. In the city of Ramat Gan, the hospital has a reputation for treating any animal that walks through their door regardless of the species. Back in 2013, Ronnie, who was the manager at the time, spoke to the Times of Israel's website. "If it's wild, we accept. It doesn't matter if it's a snake or a weasel, a deer or a hyena." They went on to further explain, "Our main aim is to return wild animals to nature, to preserve species, especially in a sensitive area like Israel." Given that this was still the hospital's main objective, it was clear that the wolf was in good hands. The hospital staff named the wolf Owl and started working on a way to fix him. According to an X-ray, the animal had a broken leg, which meant that he would need surgery in order to ease his pain and fix the limb. The hospital veterinarian sedated the wolf and started working on his leg right immediately. While the wolf was off in dreamland, the vets fixed his injury, but even after the operation was complete, they knew that the creature would still have a rough time with his recovery. Despite this, the surgery was successful. If Oliel was ever going to have a chance to return to the wild, his leg needed time to heal itself. Unfortunately, this meant that the wolf had to remain in a cage for his own good as well as for the safety of the hospital staff. During his stay, The vets continued to monitor his progress to make sure that he was healing properly. Before the vets could even consider returning the animal to the wild, certain tests had to be conducted. Oliel would need to prove to them that he was capable of resuming his old life. This meant that he would need to hunt in order to eat, but he would also need to be able to dash off at the first sight of trouble if he was to survive. Oliel's recovery took 4 months, but everything had apparently gone according to plan. The creature was checked up by the vets one more time to be sure his injuries had healed. Then they prepared to return him to the wild, but he still had one more hurdle to cross, and that involved getting in the vehicle that would take him home. Oliel was placed inside a crate by the hospital staff, and the crate was then put on a truck. Given the sound that the truck made, it was obvious that this would likely remind Ole of his unfortunate encounter with the vehicle that caused his injury months earlier. But fortunately, his old life would soon be over and his new one was about to begin. The truck eventually arrived at the release spot where the vets and Oliel would soon part ways. The veterinarians opened the crate up and waited until a wolf walked out, but several moments had passed and the wolf hadn't made his debut. The vets assumed that the creature was petrified and couldn't move. After a while, Oliel came to terms with the fact that it was time to roam free in the wild. Emerging from his crate, he leaped and dashed into the untamed wilderness. The veterinarians observed with delight as the creature sprinted towards newfound freedom, clearly brimming with joy. Remarkably, his agile movements made it hard to believe that he had once suffered a broken leg. If that compassionate stranger hadn't halted, Ole would have never been granted a second lease on life. A somber occurrence took a delightful turn, all thanks to the driver who transported Oliel to the animal hospital. While the creature couldn't express gratitude in words, the way it bounded away conveyed a heartfelt appreciation. I hope you liked this video. Please share and subscribe to our channel. Also press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.